Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everyone else was louder, flashier, and more confident than you? Have you ever wondered why some men can say very little, yet still command respect, attention, and attraction without trying? It's not about being the biggest, richest, or best-looking guy in the room. It's about something deeper, something quieter, something solid. It's about presence. More specifically, it's about masculine presence, the kind that doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't try to prove anything. It just is. In today's world, most men are told the wrong things. They're told to give more, chase harder, and prove themselves constantly. Buy her things, text her all the time, be super nice, bend over backward just to be chosen. But guess what? That doesn't lead to love. It doesn't lead to respect. It doesn't lead to power. It leads to burnout, confusion, and heartbreak. Why? Because the more you chase, the more you lose your center. The more you try to prove yourself, the more you tell the world you don't believe in your own value. And the more you make her the center of your universe, the more she sees you as a man with no real purpose. This video is not about games. It's not about tricks. It's about mastery. We're going to break down the Stoic secrets that will help you build an unshakable masculine presence. The kind that doesn't need to talk much to be noticed and doesn't need to beg for love to be desired. We'll talk about why detachment is powerful, not cold. How being less available actually increases your value. Why emotional control is more attractive than constant emotional sharing. How purpose, not people, should be the center of your life. And how confidence isn't built from applause, but from competence. These ideas are simple, but they're not easy. They take awareness, discipline, and a commitment to something greater than chasing short-term attention. But if you stay with me through these 10 pages, you'll start to understand how real attraction works. You'll learn how to stop chasing and start drawing in. You'll learn how to stop folding under pressure and start standing tall in any room. Because the truth is, women don't crave men who beg. They crave men who don't need, but still choose. That's what makes a man rare. That's what makes a man magnetic. And that's what makes a man truly unshakable. Ready to step into that version of yourself? Let's begin. Let's start with something most guys never question. Why do we believe we have to chase love? Where did we learn that we need to impress, to prove ourselves, to work hard just to be chosen? It starts young. We're taught that if we're nice enough, if we give enough, if we do everything right, someone will finally want us. We're told, if you like her, let her know right away. Show her how much you care. Make big gestures. Be available 24/7. It sounds romantic, but in reality, it often leads to rejection. It leads to women losing interest. It leads to men feeling confused, frustrated, and broken. Here's why it doesn't work. When you chase someone, you put them on a pedestal. You make them the prize. And what happens when you make someone the prize? You become the pursuer, the one who needs to impress, the one who needs to prove. And that creates imbalance. Attraction doesn't live in imbalance. Attraction lives in mutual respect. And respect doesn't grow when one person is always chasing and the other is always deciding. When you chase too much, it doesn't feel like love to her. It feels like desperation. And desperate energy repels. It makes you seem like you don't have options, like you're not grounded, like you need her just to feel okay. That's not attractive. That's pressure. Women don't want pressure. They want to be pulled in, not pushed on. They want to feel desire, but they don't want to feel like you need them to survive. Think about it. Would you respect a person who dropped everything in their life just to be around you all the time? Or would you start to feel smothered? Would you start to wonder, why is he so available? Doesn't he have anything going on? That's the trap, and too many men fall into it. They think being too present, too giving, and too eager will win love. But instead, it often drives people away. Not because kindness is wrong, kindness is great. But neediness wrapped in kindness is what kills attraction. The truth is simple but powerful. The more you chase, the more they run. The more you push, the more they pull back. The more you try to prove, the more you say, I'm not enough unless you approve. That's not presence. That's insecurity. And if you want to build a truly masculine presence, you need to learn to stop chasing and start being. The kind of man who doesn't beg. The kind of man who doesn't need constant attention. The kind of man who stays calm, focused, and grounded, no matter what. Because when you stop chasing, something amazing happens. She starts to feel the space. And in that space, desire is born. The power of detachment. Now that we've talked about why chasing doesn't work, let's get into something that completely flips the script. Detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you ignore people. And it definitely doesn't mean you play cold games to hurt someone. Detachment is this. You care, but you don't cling. You're interested, but you're not desperate. You love, but you don't lose yourself in that love. It means your peace comes first. Your values come first. Your mission in life stays strong, no matter who walks into your world. Most men don't understand how powerful this is, because most men are taught that love means doing everything for her. But here's the truth. A man who is too available becomes invisible. A man who is always there becomes taken for granted. A man who loses himself for a woman loses both her and himself. That's why detachment is power. When you're detached, you're not reacting emotionally to everything she says or does. You don't need her to act a certain way for you to feel okay. You don't chase her highs, and you don't spiral from her lows. You are still. You are grounded. You are centered in yourself. And that energy is magnetic. Because while most men are busy being emotionally chaotic, texting too much, over-explaining, over-apologizing, you are still. You're not cold, but you are calm. That calm creates mystery. It makes her wonder, why is he so centered? It makes her feel something that's rare today. Respect. Respect is more powerful than attention. Because attention is easy to give. But respect is earned. And detachment earns it. Here's what most men never realize. You don't have to convince a woman to want you. You don't have to chase her. You don't even have to talk all the time. If you build a powerful presence, if you master your emotions, know your worth, and stay true to your purpose, she will feel it, and she'll crave to be part of it. That's how attraction really works. It's not loud, it's not needy, it's silent, it's calm, it's in control. And the best part, when you live with detachment, you gain something better than just attention. You gain your freedom. You don't rely on a relationship to make you whole. You don't need constant validation to feel like a man. You can walk away if things don't align with your standards. And that's real power. Because guess what? The man who can walk away is the man who always holds the most strength. The man who doesn't chase, doesn't get left behind. The man who stays in control of himself becomes unforgettable. That is what detachment gives you. It gives you peace. It gives you choice. And it builds a presence so strong that women feel it, even in your silence. Why absence builds value. Let's talk about something almost every man overlooks. Absence. Now, I don't mean ghosting. I don't mean disappearing just to play mind games. And I don't mean ignoring someone on purpose. I mean living a life so full and so focused that you naturally aren't always available. You're not sitting around waiting to be texted. You're not dropping everything just to prove your interest. You're not rushing to fill silence because you're afraid she'll lose interest. Instead, you're busy, you're growing, you're building. And guess what? That makes you more attractive. Most men think being always there makes a woman feel secure. And yes, a woman wants to feel secure. But she also wants to feel desire. She wants to feel curiosity. She wants to feel that you have a world of your own and that she's lucky to be invited in. Absence creates that feeling. When you're not always texting, when you're not always hanging out, when you're not always available on command, you create space. And in that space, her mind starts to wander. She starts asking, why isn't he always around? What's he working on? Why does it feel like I'm thinking about him more than he's thinking about me? And here's the magic. That wondering creates attraction. Because the mind craves what it doesn't fully understand. The heart values what it can't completely possess, and the soul is drawn to what feels rare. See, here's what you have to understand. We don't value what we have too much access to. It's just human nature. The guy who texts all day, every day, eventually becomes background noise. The man who says yes to every plan, every time, no matter what, eventually gets taken for granted. But the man who is focused, the man who has things to do, the man who doesn't need constant communication to feel secure, that man becomes a mystery, and that mystery becomes a magnet. Let me make this clear. This isn't about ignoring her. This isn't about pretending you're busy. It's about actually being busy. It's about living so deeply in your mission, your goals, your life, that your attention becomes a privilege, not a guarantee. And when your attention becomes a privilege, your presence becomes powerful. Purpose, the core of masculine energy. Let's go even deeper. If you want to build an unshakable masculine presence, you have to understand this one truth. Purpose comes before everything. Before her, before the relationship, before comfort, before fun. Your purpose is your reason for being. It's the fire in your chest. It's what wakes you up in the morning with direction. And it's what keeps you going when life gets hard. Without purpose, a man drifts. He becomes lost. He becomes weak. He starts to rely on others, especially women, for validation. But when you lock into your purpose, something powerful happens. You walk differently. You speak with more weight. You make decisions based on what you believe, not what will please others. That's the kind of energy that pulls people in. Not because you're trying to be liked, but because people can feel your certainty. Let's make something clear. Women don't want to be your purpose. They want to be part of your life. They want to feel connected, close, seen, and loved. But they do not want to be the reason you exist. If you make a woman your whole world, she will eventually pull away. Not because she doesn't like attention, but because it puts too much pressure on her. And deep down, she wants to feel like she's joining a man's journey, not becoming the journey. Think of it this way. Imagine a man who has a mission. Maybe he's building a business. Maybe he's mastering a skill. Maybe he's leading, serving, creating, building something that matters. Now imagine a woman watching him. He's not ignoring her. He's not cold or mean, but he's focused. When he's with her, he's present. But when he's away, he's on fire with what he's building. That is deeply attractive. Why? Because it shows strength, it shows discipline, and it shows that his life has direction, with or without her. That kind of man makes a woman feel like she's with someone who can lead, not someone who clings. Now compare that to the man who has no purpose. He waits for her to text. He builds his schedule around hers. He wants to hang out all day, every day. And when she says she's busy, he gets nervous, anxious, needy. That man becomes heavy, and over time, she'll feel like she's dragging him through life. That's not attractive. That's not masculine. And that's not what makes a woman crave your presence long term. So here's the truth. If you want to build real presence, if you want to have that deep, calm, powerful energy that women feel drawn to, find your purpose. Don't just chase women. Chase something bigger. Build something. Grow something. Master something. When your life is rich with meaning, love becomes a bonus, not a need. And that's when women feel safe, excited, and drawn to you. Not because you need them to feel whole, but because you're already whole, and they want to be part of your journey. Why being less available makes you more attractive? Let's talk about something most men don't understand. Scarcity. Not scarcity like being broke or lacking. I mean scarcity of your time, your energy, your presence. Here's a simple truth. What's rare is valued. What's always available is taken for granted. Think about it. Imagine someone gives you a gold bar, but then they say, Oh, there's 100 more just like this in the backyard. Suddenly that gold bar feels less special. Now imagine someone gives you that same gold bar and says, "This is one of a kind. You won't find another like it." You protect it. You treasure it. You respect it. It's the same with your time and your presence as a man. If you're always available, if you drop everything the moment she texts, if you cancel your plans just because she asked, you become common, not because you're not good, but because you're too easy to reach. It sends a signal. My time isn't valuable. My mission can wait. You come first. And you may think that sounds romantic, but it's not attractive in the long run. It feels needy. It feels unbalanced. And it makes her feel like you have no life of your own. Now let's flip the script. Imagine you're a man on purpose. You're busy. You're working on your goals. You're building something real. You don't ignore her, but you don't make yourself available 24/7 either. She texts you, you reply, but not instantly. She wants to hang out. You check your schedule because you have one. She cancels plans. You move on with your day and don't sulk. That kind of man, that kind of calm, strong, centered man, he's rare. And that's exactly what makes women crave him. Not because he's playing games, not because he's trying to make her chase, but because his life is already full. He's not waiting around. He's moving forward, and she either joins him or watches him go. And guess what? That's when she leans in. That's when she starts texting more. That's when she starts putting in effort. Because now your attention feels earned, not given freely to anyone who asks. It's like supply and demand. The less available something is, the more people want it. So remember this: if you're everywhere, all the time, you become forgettable. But if you're steady, intentional, and rare, you become unforgettable. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you truly value yourself and your time. And that, my friend, is powerful. How to stay calm, strong, and centered. Now let's dive into one of the most powerful tools a man can have: emotional mastery. Not emotional suppression, not pretending things don't bother you, but real control, real awareness, real calm. Let me explain. Most men are ruled by their emotions. They get angry fast. They panic when something goes wrong. They get sad and spiral when a woman pulls away. They react instead of respond. But here's the thing. A woman cannot trust a man who cannot control himself. If you're always up and down, if you argue with her over every small thing, if you get jealous, clingy, or needy when she needs space, you become unstable in her eyes. And women don't feel safe around unstable men. Not physically, not emotionally, not mentally. Now compare that to the Stoic man. He feels emotions, but he doesn't get pulled around by them. He doesn't lash out. He doesn't beg. He doesn't chase validation. He breathes. He steps back. He thinks before acting. He stays rooted in logic and principle. Let me give you a visual. Imagine a tree during a storm. The wind is wild. Rain is pouring down. But the tree doesn't run or panic. It bends a little, it moves, but its roots are strong. That's emotional mastery. You don't let the storm pull you out of yourself. You watch it, you understand it, you let it pass, and you stay grounded. So how do you build this kind of calm power? Here are 3 key practices. 1. Pause before you react. When you feel triggered, take a moment. Don't respond right away. Let the emotion rise and then settle. Respond when your mind is clear. 2. Journal or reflect. Get to know your triggers. Why did that text bother you? Why did her silence make you insecure? The more self-aware you are, the more power you gain. 3. Train your mind like you train your body. Meditate. Practice breathing exercises. Expose yourself to discomfort. Controlling chaos is a skill, and it gets better with practice. Now here's the real secret. Women are drawn to calm men because calmness equals strength, and strength equals safety, and safety equals deep attraction. When you show that you don't need her to fix your emotions, when you stay centered, even when she tests you, pulls back, or acts unsure, that's when she feels magnetized. That's when she thinks, this man can handle me. I can trust him. You stop being a boy chasing feelings, and you start being a man standing in power. That is what makes your presence unshakable.